Hey guys, you are watching Tech Radar. My name's Basil and
my name's John.
Today it's all about Mobile World Congress 2018. So Mobile World Congress is the show where most of the big smartphone releases for the year get announced.
If you love smartphones, this is a show you want to keep an eye on this year.
It's basically Christmas, Chanukah, all those things for smartphone owners wrapped into one, or smartphone lovers, more to the point. Last year we saw the LG G6, we saw the Sony Xperia XZ Premium, we saw the Huawei P10, we saw the Huawei Watch 2, we saw
the return of Nokia.
The return of Nokia, which is like the runaway story of that year, actually, and that show specifically. This is a kind of rumor roundup plus an overview of what we know already, and we know a lot about one phone, the Samsung Galaxy S9. So before we jump into that, big shout out to Bidan. Yo, what's up? Shouting in the comments section. Hey Bidan. If you've got any questions, there is a live chat. Fire them through in the comments section, live chat below, etc. All of that stuff. But let's get to it. Let's start talking about Mobile World Congress, specifically the Samsung Galaxy S9. But let's actually start with the Galaxy S8. What do you think of the Samsung Galaxy S8?
It's a lovely phone. If you look on Tech Radar, it's currently our best phone in the world in terms of an overall package of everything you get. Will it be the best phone for every person in the world? No, because there are different phones for different peoples. But if you're looking for that all-round package and money's not an object, then the S8 brings it all together really nicely. It does really well in all the areas without sort of flailing in any particular areas at the same time, whereas some phones may beat it in a specific area. They don't offer the same all-round oomph of the Galaxy S8. So that means the S9 has some pretty big boots to fill. And for anyone hoping for sort of a revelation, another sort of showstopper from Samsung, this year may not be your year. The rumours we're seeing it's going to be sort of more iterative in terms of updates, which kind of makes sense if Samsung does go S9 at MWC. Why do we say that? Because last year it skipped MWC and did its own glitzy launch for the S8 after the show in Barcelona. This year, all rumours, even Samsung itself has hinted that it will be launching the phone at Barcelona, which suggests maybe there's not going to be quite such a big song and dance about it, because it is going to be that iterative sort of progression.
Another event with a few others around it, you know, less Samsung stealing the limelight.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously it's the S9, the name, the brand, the history carries a certain amount of weight behind it. So there's still going to be a lot of excitement around it. And Samsung will need to play it carefully not to disappoint people on the day. So what can we expect? Well, the Infinity display really sort of stole the show last year, so we're expecting hopefully even more slender bezels. Will it notch things up like the iPhone 10, or will Samsung find its own innovative way to include those front sensors and cameras while also reducing the bezels? An emoji, iPhone 10 is one of the iPhone 10's big features, all over the TV ads at the moment. Lots of hints that Samsung are going to be offering that on its next flagship. Other manufacturers are already offering it or about to offer it. Qualcomm at the launch of the Snapdragon 845 showed off that its new chipset can do that sort of thing really well. So there's a lot of face tracking talk. In-display fingerprint sensor?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Fingers at the ready.
John was at CES. He got his hands on with the Vivo fingerprint scanner.
Yeah, I did, last week in Las Vegas. Glamorous. But yeah, it worked very nicely. It's a little slower than the standard fingerprint sensors we've got at the moment, because the OLED screen has actually got to light your finger for then the scanner under the screen to then read it. So there's a slight delay going from one to the other, but you're not left hanging around, and it is really quite cool to check out. I've got an in-depth write-up on the website, so make sure you check that out. But back to the S9, and you can expect the usual power improvement, camera improvement, hopefully battery improvement. The battery's still pretty good on the S8 series.
Yeah, the S8 has 3000. It's been confirmed, the latest leak, that the S9 will have 3000 as well, 3000 milliamps. And the camera, it's now, by the looks of the leaks, going to be a dual camera, this time around with an f1.5 lens in the primary camera, an f2.4 lens in the secondary camera. So that will mean that it's the widest aperture lens of any smartphone around. pretty impressive.
And there's your tagline,
stuff.
hey?
Yeah, there is your tagline until the rest of the announcements at Mobile World Congress. We will talk a lot more about the S9, but we're going to use your questions as a steer because we care what you think. And steering is something that John was doing a lot at CES. He got to ride in the smart car with this like screen along the dashboard.
The Byton, yeah, it's got a screen over a metre wide, right in front of you. It's insane. There's a smartphone dock in each door pocket, which wirelessly connects your phone to the car, and then your phone in the door pocket you'll use to adjust your seat, adjust your climate control in your particular area, adjust media playback on the big screen and through the speakers. It wasn't all functional. The big screen was functional, but those smartphones weren't at the time. But it's a little glimpse into the future.
But can it play Crysis?
Can it play Crysis? I mean, the screen's big enough.
Yes. Right. Bidan says, I got the S8. Only one question. Should I get the S9? Is it going to be worth it? Well, one of the UK tweet, like the guy who started this forum called Modeco, called Paul O'Brien, he tweeted saying that he got a glimpse of the specs of the S9. I don't know if it's more in depth than the glimpse that everyone else has now, but he said that it seems like an iterative upgrade, i.e. exactly what John said. Might not be the revolution you're after if you are looking to upgrade, but if you are selling your old phone, getting a new one, you know, and you want to have the latest tech, having that dual camera setup will give you the same kind of key advantages as the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, that blurred background, sharp foreground. If it has a Snapdragon 845, which it likely will do based on all the rumors
in the US,
the US, or the new Exynos chipset, then you can also get those improvements with regards to the speed of video recording and those Animoji type things too. Ismail Klausel, hello. Social jet lag. What do you think about the V30? Check our review. The V30 is a very, very good phone. What's interesting though, this year we reckon we're going to see the upgrade to that. There's rumors are that it's not going to be called the LG G7. LG may be ditching the G moniker.
G's. Goodbye G's. And
goodbye G.
Yeah, and this phone is rumoured to more closely match the V30 in terms of scale and direction than it does the G6. So it looks like LG is going to really shift away from that G series completely. Maybe inherit. The V30 was better received than the G6. Received. It was a better phone though. Overall, the V30 was a better phone, and maybe the one they should have launched at MWC last year. So the hope is LG will learn from that, progress the V30 style, come up with a nice snappy name for its new flagship, and hopefully wow, it's got a chance to steal the show if it gets it right.
I'm hopeful. I'm really, really hopeful. LG's always delivered like really, really nice stuff, but they've just always managed to, after the release, be outdone by someone else. So fingers crossed that they can just, I really hope there's a Snapdragon 845 in it, whatever happens. We've got MK441 saying Galaxy S9, loads of love hearts, so shout out to you,
big fan.
Yep. And Nas Il Ibrahim, I hope they won't ruin the design after the S8's great design. Now by the looks of things, the leaks are all saying that it's going to have a 5.8-inch display than S9, just like the S8 did. It's going to be IP68 water and dust resistant, so not IP67 like the Mate 10 Pro, for example. That extra level right there. You're going to have AKG tuned headphones in the box as well. Based on the leaks in terms of battery and everything, screen size, it's 5.8 with Quad HD resolution and that same 18:9 or 18.5:9. It looks like it's pretty much going to be the same phone in a lot of key areas. So I'm guessing the design will be similar.
In terms of look, I don't think they're going to do anything too drastic. Maybe slightly more slender bezels. And they're going to have to redo the camera layout on the back because of the dual cameras, and hopefully they'll get the fingerprint scanner in the right place.
And there's going to be a Bixby button.
Guys,
do you think there's going to be a Bixby button?
I mean, it's likely, right? Hopefully we'll see more from Bixby, because they kind of tried to make a big deal out of it, and we got the phone and it was not ready at all, for what maybe
especially
potential.
In the UK.
Hopefully 2018 will be the year Bixby realises its potential and really becomes a force against Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa, which over the past 12 months have just exploded. They now seem to be in everything. At CES last week, everyone was putting it into any sort of device they could think of. So it'll be interesting to see. Bixby's a little bit behind the curve, and while Samsung has always said Bixby isn't a rival to these things, it kind of is. So, and those are the comparisons that will be drawn, and it will have to step up. So Bixby button, fine. If Bixby is the real next big thing that Samsung's been promising.
As it stands, using the Note 8, and we'll talk about this battery pack in a sec, and batteries in general. In fact, if you see a poll in the top right hand corner, click the I button, you can vote whether you think batteries should be bigger, phones should be slimmer, or who cares? You can just get a battery pack. But the Bixby button on the left hand side, which is down below the volume rocker, I switched that on. I press that instead of the power button all the time, and it ends up doing really, really crazy stuff like listening to me and then putting all my pictures into a certain folder. So Bixby's at the moment actually quite, it's just Bixby, which shows it works, but it actually can be a little bit annoying, that Bixby button. You can deactivate it, I guess, but I'd rather just keep it alive and make it work. So Samsung, we're counting on you. Right, we have loads more comments.
Yes.
Wow, this just exploded. Nothing is new about the S9. It's a little upgrade, says Sweet King. Pele put a comment in here earlier, but I've just lost it. There you go. When will Samsung phones get graphene batteries?
I mean, when will any phone get a graphene battery, really? There's so many different new age battery techs being worked on. If someone cracks the battery problem, they're going to make a lot of money.
Yes.
So it's in a lot of people's interest to be working on this. Now, over my years of working on Tech Radar, I've seen so many fledgling battery technologies come out of universities and research labs going, this is going to be the next big thing. We've got a battery that can last 1 million recharge cycles.
A battery that can run on P.
Yeah,
that was a thing.
Exactly, crazy stuff, but also ones that have like long recharge cycles, or will last ages, or will charge really quickly, but never all three. They always had a weakness, and it was usually one of those core 3 points. It could do 2 and it couldn't do the 3rd, which meant it ultimately wasn't good enough for our mobile devices. We're still not at a point where anyone has made a breakthrough big enough to make it a commercial proposition. There's lots of interesting stuff going on. Graphene is only one of them. So we are still several years away from anything really sliding into our smartphones.
Yep, I agree completely. Abhishek Rajaram says, so what improvements do you expect to see from Bixby 2.0? So we did kind of cover this, but my big thing would be offline use. That would be great. Having Bixby serve some voice function, having it serve some voice functionality offline. So Huawei's bigging up the AI chip inside its devices, the Kirin 970. The fact that can do offline voice translation is a really, really big deal. Now that this is going to have that additional AI component, it should lubricate those cogs. What's yours? What do you want Bixby to be able to do for you?
I think for the general user base, the general consumer out there, it needs to act more like Siri, Alexa, Assistant. You need to be able to say, turn my lights on, add something to my to-do list. All those sort of general things, set a timer. I mean, it can do some of this stuff already, but it's that sort of natural language processing. It can understand more phrases. You don't have to be quite so stock in how you ask it things. It's still quite rigid and you have to say stuff in a certain way, otherwise it just doesn't know what you're saying. It can take a lot of lessons from the likes of Google. The fun element as well, playing games, quizzes, fun facts, jokes. Just a more all-rounded sort of almost family-orientated, because these sort of smart assistants, they're not supposed to just live on your phone. They're supposed to live throughout your life. So whether you're in your car, on the road with your phone, at home, they need to be all-encompassing, and not only should they be the centre of your life, they also need to include the others close to you in your life, so they need to have that functionality to be wide-reaching.
I completely agree. Assistant, the conversational style just nails it, and it'll also tie in closer with Alexa and interaction with your home device, your smart home device. So Sinisa says, dude, there aren't 2 cameras on the S9. It's one camera that can change the aperture from f1.5 to f2.4. So that's an interesting, because what usually happens when the smartphone has 2 apertures, it refers to the 2 different lenses. But if you can change the aperture on the Galaxy S9 camera, that will make it the very first. In order to change an aperture, it has to be mechanical. So
I mean, some people do it on a software level, which isn't
that's not
true
aperture changing.
And, but maybe it would be sold as it, which can be
there
misleading.
may be something like a neutral density filter or something like that. So there are still some exciting question marks
but
around
if you've got some more info on the S9 there.
Yeah.
Inside info. Do tip us at news@techradar.com and we will be more than happy to speak to you.
Exactly. So the other rumor is, well, not even rumor, it's leaked on the alleged box of the Galaxy S9 that it's going to have stereo speaker as well. Likely is the same setup that Huawei does, where you have the bottom firing speaker and the front speaker where your earpieces. Now, the other day I was talking on the Note in like loudspeaker mode with my mum. Oh. And the audio was coming from here really loudly. It wasn't coming from the loudspeaker. So when you're on loudspeaker anyway, the volume comes out of there. So it can create an audible volume. So I don't understand with software why they don't just backdate to make things like the Note stereo speakers, because when you're gaming and you're covering this up, it's just nothing to 100%. And if at least you had something else, and that is software, which is a shame. So hopefully, and the Samsung Galaxy S9 will fix that. Last year was the year of the infinity display. This year it will be camera centric. That is a very fair thing to say.
I think biometrics is going to be quite big this year as well, especially with the 2017 ending on iPhone X and Face ID. OnePlus has pushed out a Face Unlock update to the OnePlus 5 after it launched it on the OnePlus 5T. You've got Honor and Huawei also doing the same sort of thing. So I reckon biometrics is going to be another big one. A lot of visual stuff, a lot of face stuff going on, but also fingerprint as well, going back to in-screen as well. On the back, round the side, where's Samsung going to put its fingerprint scanner? Is it going to ditch it? That's always going to be a big thing. Yeah,
a render showed it was in the middle. A render has shown that it's in line with the camera around the back. So at the moment, the back panel has just been leaked in terms of renders and rumors. It's nothing concrete.
If anything gives us a slight hint, it could be the Galaxy A8, which launched just before CES, which I saw at CES. It has the fingerprint scanner just below the camera lens, but still the two touch. It's not like on the OnePlus 5, for example, where it's nicely away from your camera. They are touching, and it still required a sort of a bit of a fiddle. Fumble. And I was still, putting my finger over the camera lens, finding it. So hopefully Samsung will greater differentiate between the two.
We have the British Unknown.
Yes.
Hello, British Unknown, aka Finley. Nice to have you on here. Bixby seems being something useful and not awful would be a good start. I think, we agree with you on that one. To a degree, it does still do some useful things. Like I, for example, wanted to turn my phone or turn mobile data off, so it can integrate more deeply into the settings. And I was able to do it with my voice. You wouldn't be able to do that.
And
with
it's
Google
not just
Assistant.
Voice either. It's the Bixby Vision side of things as well. But again, if that improves, of course, the potential is there. I mean, Amazon tried it way back when with the Fire Phone, a similar thing. Hold it up and it'll recognise stuff. Didn't work so well, and Bixby Vision isn't great. But again, room for improvement. There's a lot of potential. If Samsung get it right, maybe this year.
Fingers crossed. Sweet King says, what will you guys say? Will we get something like NVIDIA GeForce Now for smartphones? Dude, that's my dream. The fact you can connect your Bluetooth remote game control to your smartphone. Smartphones have such incredible displays. This is going to have a Super AMOLED Quad HD Plus display. Wow, that would just be fantastic.
It's interesting, but the GPU sort of stuff still comes down to a chipset level, and that corner of the market is quite dominated by, especially in the Android world, Qualcomm, and then also MediaTek. And you'll find the GPUs are on the SoC, which sits alongside the
With
CPU
this, though,
and everything.
You won't need... So what the NVIDIA Now was referring to the streaming.
Yeah.
So it's basically like taking all of that GPU power and placing it on a remote PC. And so we've actually kind of seen that on Android. Do you remember the NVIDIA Shield tablet?
Yes.
So you could actually stream PC games. I was playing Street Fighter 4 on my Android tablet, and it was amazing. So we have actually seen something like that from NVIDIA, so we should give them props for that.
And they did try to... They did have a smartphone chip a few years ago. They tried to get in... Exactly. And Intel, at the time, Intel was doing it, and Texas Instruments would do it along with Qualcomm. But that market, that chipset market has reduced quite quickly. NVIDIA fell off, Intel fell off. These are two big players who, for whatever reason, couldn't make it work. Now, will NVIDIA want to try and get back in? It's already tried once. Or is it going to decide, actually, it's not done a lot of Shield lately either in terms of new hardware. So it would be interesting to see if NVIDIA really wants to get back in that mobile game. The lines are merging, especially with these Snapdragon-powered Windows laptops.
Like the new Lenovo Mix 600.
Absolutely. So you know, maybe it is time that Nvidia's like, okay, now or never, really. So maybe we could see Nvidia try and get back into that mobile game.
Let's watch the space. Gosh, loads of comments. Give me 2 shakes, guys. Just scrolling through. Zodiac King asks, do you think the bottom bezel may be smaller like some of the rumors suggest? We have nothing concrete to go on for that one.
We don't, but if Samsung's going to try and make it not be like the S8, then that would be one thing that it could do relatively easily. Try and reduce those bezels further, make it an even more infinity display, as it were. It would be a relatively easy win for Samsung. Whether they will or not, unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed indeed. So in terms of the Face ID and all the things, it might have the Retina scanner. Yep. Do you think there'll be Face ID a la Apple with the lasers?
I reckon there'll be some form of Face ID. Whether it will use the same infrared laser camera technology as Apple does remains to be seen. It depends how much Apple has patented that particular technology. We don't know how much IP Apple owns over that and how much can be freely used, so it'll be interesting to see if Samsung can go to the same depths. General face unlocking can be done by anyone, but yeah, it's Apple using those infrared cameras to really map your face and especially see you in the dark, which is the big sort of feature there. It'll be interesting to see if other people can do it. Maybe they'll license the tech from Apple. It's not the first time Samsung and Apple would license tech from each other. It's definitely a possibility, and it's one of the stronger ones on the rumor meter, I'd say.
Yep. Any info on the 120 hertz possible screen? I would say it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. So we spoke to both of us. We spoke to Razer about this, and it's the LCD, the IXO display on the Razer phone, and the LCD display on the iPad Pro that make it possible for the 120 hertz refresh rate. And as a result, for Samsung to do it, that would be breaking new ground, having that on an OLED display.
Well, they'd have to, really, to make it properly work, they'd have to ditch their Super AMOLED display and go with an LCD.
Yeah.
Unless it's done some sort of amazing tech advancement. Yeah. But if this was the first phone to do it, it'd be insanely expensive.
And there's been no word around it from what I've seen.
I'd say that's highly unlikely.
Yeah. Do you think that... What's the launch date going to be?
Launch date, if history dictates, it will be the Sunday of MWC. So is that the 27th of February?
Yes, I think so. But in terms of when if it's launching around the 27th February, when will it come to market?
Mid-March.
Mid-March. So you're probably going to be looking end of Q1 to get your hands on one of these phones.
It depends what they add to it. If they do something a bit insane with the screen, then manufacturing may take a bit longer, so you'll be looking April, but it's iterative, so you'd hope mid-March.
Exactly. And I think that is the bulk of everything. Just touching over other things that we think we're going to see in the next next 2 months, really. The Nokia 9. There have been leaks around that for the 19th of January. What are you thinking about the Nokia 9?
Nokia 9, it'll be interesting. So you've got Nokia 3, 5, 6, 8 at the moment in general market, the 8 being the most flagship of them, but it's still a mid-tier phone, really. It sits below Honor View 10 OnePlus 5T in the echelons of phones. So a 9 would potentially be its OnePlus 5T rival, right? Whether it was worthy of a standalone event, unclear. I mean, I think it would be quite nice to see it arrive at MWC, maybe alongside a rebooted 3, 5 and 6 series. But it makes a lot of sense for if the Nokia is if the new Nokia brand is doing well, and I don't know about the 3, it's too cheap, it's not a great performer, but the 5, 6 and 8, they're solid phones. They don't do anything crazy, they keep it quite safe, but they work and
they look decent.
They look
build
decent.
Quality's good.
I mean, hopefully this year we'll see a bit more excitement from Nokia, trying to break the mold a bit. The Nokia 9 could be its chance to really show off what it's capable of, a bit of a flagship device to maybe catch the eye of people who maybe not be fully convinced by the Nokia brand at the moment.
I reckon that if they were able to get this out middle of this month. They'll have some limelight time for themselves, and I reckon that's what Nokia needs, because with the leaks of the Nokia 9, it'll have a Snapdragon 835 chip. It'll either have a 5.5 or a 6-inch screen, hopefully 18:9. There'll be some curves on the back, front, both maybe, but none of this stuff is making anyone go, oh my goodness, this is entirely new. And so for Nokia to stand out from the pack, they might need to just come out earlier with it. And when all the other phones launched at Mobile World Congress are expected to have Snapdragon 845s, etc., Nokia will hopefully already have this in stores, so people can go and buy a shiny new Nokia 9 with any luck. We're also expecting to see potentially a new Samsung tablet, the Samsung Galaxy Tab S4.
I mean, any new Android tablet which is half decent would be nice to see, because it's such a dead sort of space at the moment. There's been a smattering of average Android tablets over the last few months, but nothing really significant, and it's a market still absolutely dominated by Apple and the iPad, and really for good reason. The iPads are excellent devices for sofa surfing, just pick them up. There's lots of apps available for them. They're just a bit pricey. Android has always been great. I love the Nexus 7s. They're really great. I had both the original and the second gen ones. A great little form factor, easy to lug around, pure Android, lovely. So something like that I'd love to see. The Samsung tablets were always good. They always tried to go after the iPad, which meant they had very similar pricing, and it was difficult really to compete, because the iPad just has that ecosystem of the apps behind it. It just kind of feels, when you're spending that much money, it just kind of feels like the right option most of the time. Although those who like the freedom of Android and a big screen, I can see the appeal. If Samsung can get it right in terms of styling, specs and price.
Imagine this phone but in tablet kind of size, because the big problem with the Samsung Tab S3 was it was so bezel heavy, it ran a completely different version of Android and TouchWiz. So it was incredibly incongruous with the phone experience. It was inferior in every respect. And you had an amazing S Pen with 1496 levels of pressure sensitivity, so it gave you a sneak peek into what you could expect from the Note 9, Note 8 even, getting ahead of myself there, but with such huge bezels and such a dated interface, it was destined to fail from the off, really. Yeah,
a 10-inch Infinity display though. Sign me up.
I know, sign me up now. So yeah, that's the Samsung Tab S4. I'd really hope for Samsung to effectively just make a giant Note 8. If they made a giant Note 8, I would be happy as anything. We're also, like we said, expecting to see an LG G7 or whatever they end up calling it, the Sony Xperia XZ Premium 2, or the new Sony Xperia Flagship.
Yeah, a new Sony phone with a 4K display potentially.
4K display. All the leaks are pointing to also
it would
new
be
design.
New design. I mean, Sony has stuck almost religiously to its omni-balance design from way back of
what's the infinite loop? That's
infinite loop.
Like infinite loop and omni-balance, which I don't. It's all marketing jargon that we all have to get to grips with, and it looked nice when it came out, but
it's a solid design. It's just, the thing is, it hasn't changed, and everyone has changed.
Yeah, and everyone's changed quickly.
Apart from maybe Apple, which took its time, but now with the iPhone 10, suddenly even Apple has completely gone back to the drawing board. And Sony has been left behind in that particular design department, so it would be nice to see them go a slightly different direction. Also, a potential for a third generation 4K display. The XZ Premium last year was not its first. It was the Z5 Premium, which was the first. So a fourth generation 4K display. Again, it still hasn't set the world alight. It's the only one doing it, and there's obviously good reasons why other people aren't. One is cost. But Sony has a chance now. Third time's a charm. It's had 2 iterations to improve the tech, make it even better. So this has the potential of being a really interesting handset because of the power behind it. It will be using Snapdragon 845. There'll be a whole lot of RAM, a potentially new design, a potentially best-in-class display.
Well, 4K HDR, that would be like unique.
Yeah, I mean, it takes cues from its Bravia TV division, it takes cues from its camera division. Yeah, they all come together and they try and make the best phone, and the cameras they've been good, but they've not been stellar in the past.
And the irony is that Sony obviously makes the sensors for other manufacturers who are able to smash out the cameras, whack optical image stabilization into the mix, and make cams that floor Sony phones, and it's been disappointing. But there are different divisions, camera maker and smartphone manufacturers. So we've got a question from Gavi, which the British Unknown has kindly jumped in and answered about 7nm chips. British Unknown, you're absolutely correct. We're quite a long way away from 7nm chips. 2018 at least will be a generation of 10nm.
Yes.
Louis Taylor, I just broke my second headphone adapter for my HTC U11 Plus. Never buying another phone without a 3.5mm headphone jack again until USB-C headphones become the mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, yep, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, you're not alone.
No.
There's a lot of people like you.
I'm like you.
There are still some holdouts who are keeping the headphone jack. But yeah, they are starting to become fewer and fewer. I mean, is it the time to maybe switch for a pair of Bluetooth headphones?
This is it.
And I know that's not perfect for everyone, and that's not how people like to listen to music, and the quality isn't as good. And I can totally get that. It does really depend on your use case, and if it's that important for you, then maybe that should be your determining factor when it comes to buying a phone. There are still really good phones with headphone adapters. OnePlus 5T, for example, has a headphone jack. Note 8 has a headphone jack. Two very good phones, different price levels.
Yeah.
Both going to give you lots of power. So
exactly.
there are still
and
options.
we reckon the Galaxy S9 probably will. Do we?
Probably, but maybe not.
I'm hopeful. So we don't have anything for sure on that. With regards to the Huawei P20, that's expected. So
not 11.
Huawei P11 or P20.
I mean,
the rumor is that they're going to change it up.
I know. I just like, who likes 11 anyway? No one likes 11.
I know, right? So effectively the P20, P11, whatever it ends up being called, is rumored to have 3 cameras around the back because 2 aren't enough to take one picture.
I mean, again, the P10 last year felt very iterative from the P9.
Yeah, it really
so the
did.
hope is, while Samsung may iterate, Huawei may innovate this year.
We're going to get an 18.
Crossed.
We have to get an 18:9 display. We've already they innovated with the Mate 10 Pro. Like, you look at all the reviews online of the Mate 10 Pro. We loved it. Everyone else loved it. This is the best phone from Huawei to date, hands down.
If anything, it's put the P series in a bit of a tricky position,
it
because
really has.
the Mate series wasn't really known as much. The P series was,
And it was
sort of
always
big
so
marketing.
big physically, so it kind of isolated itself for people who wanted a phablet, whereas the Mate 10 Pro is actually nice and compact, considering it's got that 6-inch screen thanks to the 18:9. So yeah, we're big fans of the Mate 10 Pro. So hopefully the P10, P10 Plus will smash
P11
it.
or P20.
P11
obviously.
or P11, 11 Plus. Whatever, yeah, what he said.
11 or 20, whatever.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're going to talk more about your questions, but first I'm going to check how the poll is doing. If anyone missed it, we have a poll running on the video. If you press the I button in the top right, we asked you, do you want your smartphone batteries to have big smartphones to have big batteries and have a thick phone, small batteries and have a slim phone, or who cares? You can get battery packs. I'm going to talk about this. So Mofi just sent us this to test out. It's a Galaxy Note 8 battery pack. The reason is because the Galaxy Note 8 could be the best phone in the world until 6 p.m. when it falls flat on its face because it doesn't power up anymore. The battery on this is smaller than we would have liked it to have been. Very, very safe, and that might have been a reason for that size. But unfortunately, if you don't charge it in the middle of the day, it won't last a full day. This could be the perfect solution, but it's pricey and it's bulky. So you just thwack it in, and it supports wireless charging. Whack, in the sense that the battery case can actually wireless charge, but you lose that NFC contact point.
And it also makes it a big phone even bigger. Wouldn't it be nice to have a slightly thinner phone, but thicker, a compromise between this current thickness and the Note's thickness, and have that bigger battery inside? And
exactly. So this is good. It adds like it's 36 hours whatever of battery. So which one do you think? Because we have to give an answer ourselves in order to find the result.
I would like a slightly thicker phone and a bigger battery. Phones have got so thin these days. Give me a millimetre more or something.
So on board with you. 80% of the world agrees with you. Us. Bam. Yeah, so everyone, guys, manufacturers, if you're watching this, check it out. Reproven, case in point. People want a little bit of extra girth if it means they're going to get through a whole day with their smartphones. I think we are pretty much wrapping up. Just quickly scan through the rest of your comments, see if... What do you reckon the price will be?
Of
the Samsung Galaxy S8,
a lot,
S9.
a lot. I expect it to be the same sort of launch price as the S8. That has come down quite a lot since its launch. So if the S9 doesn't really tickle your fancy, the S8 is going to come down even more after launch. So it'll be worth checking out the S8 because the likelihood is the two phones are going to be quite similar, and you should be able to get a cracking deal on the S8 if the S9 isn't show-stopping enough and you fancy saving a bit of money.
Yep. Anything else? 4K HDR OLED would be glorious. Yes, it would.
Yes, it would. But do we need it on a smartphone? You know, give me a bit of a thicker screen and a bigger battery and a QHD display and a phone that lasts 2 days. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but for sure, like if a tablet, there you go. If the Samsung Galaxy Tab S4
get me some Netflix
4K
on that
screen, 18:9
HDR
and HDR plus, that would be beautiful. Any others? Nope. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys. Big thank you to you all for talking amongst yourselves in the live chat, answering questions. British Unknown, everyone else who is doing that, really appreciate it. If we missed any out, we're both sorry, but if you comment in the comment section under the video once it goes live, then we'll do our best to answer.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful rest of the week, and check back on Thursday, same time, where we'll be talking about something else very tech related.
Bye.